Welcome back to another CR Live session with me, Dan Bongino, for those of you who don't know who me is. I'm the host of the Renegade Republican podcast here at Conservative Review. Again, big thanks to everybody who's listening and subscribing. We're about to pass an incredible 3 million downloads. That's a lot. Thanks to you. I really, really appreciate it. Hey, did you see the CNN debate last night? By the way, getting old is tough, isn't it? I'm 42. I know it's not that old. I don't want to be dramatic, but gosh, everything kind of hurts lately. You know, my joints, my elbows are killing me. I really love working out, but everything seems to hurt. So last night I was watching the CNN debate between Senator Cruz, who's a pretty skilled debater, and Senator Sanders, who's a pretty skilled liar. And it was really fascinating because it's just amazing how easy it is to be a liberal or a socialist in the case of Bernie Sanders. You know, you really never have to answer a serious question. All you have to say ever is how Republicans just hate insert random group, minorities, old people, puppies, babies. That's all you have to say. And then you have to say how Democrats really care about people. You never have to provide any evidence that anything you say, propose, any legislation you propose is ever going to work, is ever going to do anything. Matter of fact, you don't even have to defend the failure of your own legislation like Obamacare. You just move on. It's so easy to... I'm really, and I mean this, folks, I'm envious of liberals. I am. I really am. It's a bit of jealousy there. Because it's just so easy. It requires no thinking. You can have the intellect of a sea cucumber and be a liberal. It requires nothing. There's no advanced thought at all. Couple things I noticed about last night's debate. So Bernie Sanders is a socialist, and the entire premise of socialism, for those of you interested in learning something, if you're not interested because you're a liberal, tune out. I really don't care at all. Believe me, you're not going to hurt my feelings. The whole premise of socialism is the idea that the government should control the means of production. In other words, if free citizens control the factories and basically control their own economic lives, they're going to screw it up because they're greedy. So the government, full of really smart people, smart bureaucrats and technocrats, should control the means of production to control the stupid population and to control for greed. That's the whole premise of socialism in a really small nutshell. Government control the means of production because government people, as we all know, are just smarter than you, of course. I say that dripping with sarcasm. So a woman gets up last night at the CNN debate in one of the most telling moments I have ever seen in a debate where a socialist was actually forced to answer the question from a real live person. And the woman says, hey, listen, Obamacare really screwed me over. Because of its 50-employee rule, I can't expand my business because I can't afford to pay health care. I'm a hair salon owner in Fort Worth. The margins are really tight, and I don't have the money to pay for this health care. So I can't grow my business and hire more people. Bernie Sanders, in one of the most amazing moments I've ever seen, says, he just admits to it. He admits that socialism is a total pile of steaming horse manure. I was going to say something else, but I think the FCC would come after us. I don't think that actually applies on Facebook. But he says, well, ma'am, in that Bernie Sanders voice, I'm really sorry, but I don't know much about hair salons in Fort Worth. Oh! 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 So Bernie, let me get this straight. You're a socialist who wants everybody you're trying to coax and manipulate into believing that the government should control the economy. That's what socialism is, unless if you read a book, which I know some liberals have a hard time with. So you want the government to control the economy. You just admitted to this woman that you know absolutely nothing about hair salons in Fort Worth. So you know nothing about her business, but you want to control it. That's what socialism is. Are you an idiot? You want the government, even a soft form of socialism, where you say, well, we'll tax them to death and we'll spend their money because they can't spend their money better on themselves. You still lose the argument. Folks, I'm not making this up. This actually happened last night. And it was weird because nobody on the stage and the audience, nobody thought the answer to the question was even remotely unusual. I was ferociously tweeting about it, saying, this is it. Bernie Sanders just admitted that socialism is a crock. It's a bad magic trick. It's a joke. It's a farce. It's a scam. It's a manipulative scam played over and over for stupid people who believe it. This is a socialist. The renowned king of the new socialist movement in the United States, Bernie Sanders, admitting he knows absolutely nothing about a small business owner's business in Texas, as he claims in the following sentence that he wants to regulate her business. Does this not strike you as odd? A couple of other gems from the debate last night. Bernie Sanders randomly declaring rights. Says, well, isn't healthcare right? What? Ask your liberal friends this. I covered this on my podcast today in great detail. Seriously, ask your liberal friends when they declare everything a right. Food, shelter, healthcare. That all sounds great. I get it. What does that mean? No, what does it mean? What does a right mean? Well, it means they have the right to it. How? So if you have a right to food and you don't feel like working, but you have a legal right, meaning the government can enforce that right by force, you can go to a farmer or a local supermarket and take the food. It's your right. What is this, Braveheart? Like, remember Prima Noctu from Braveheart when the guy comes over at the wedding for the Scots and he takes the guy's wife away and he says, "It's my right." That was a right. So if you have a right to health care, right, and and you're a liberal and it requires no additional thinking at all, have you ever thought through what that means? So the medical staff, the doctor, all of the people, the janitor that works in the hospital, you have a right to their free labor. That's what you're saying. Again, I'm not suggesting that a humane, prosperous society shouldn't try to take care of the least fortunate. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is conservatives don't declare things right because we think. Liberals don't think. They declare things right, but they never think through the consequences. That a right means you're declaring the right to someone else's labor for free. You're basically declaring the right to indentured servitude. That someone should serve you for nothing if you don't feel like paying. That's what a right is, if you think. But again, I'm asking liberals to do something they really don't want to do. One more thing he brought up. He kept complaining about rationing by price, how the government was rationing healthcare by price. No, there's only two ways to allocate resources. And again, I covered this in my podcast today in detail. You can ration them or you can price them. There's no third way, okay? If you have 10 chairs and you have 100 people, you can ration the chairs or you can sell them. There is no third way. If you figure out a third way, apply for a PhD in economics, you'll get it tomorrow. There's no third way. So Bernie Sanders says, oh, well, healthcare insurance companies are rationing things by price. Folks, the reason healthcare and health insurance is so expensive is because of the government. The left does this thing all the time where they start the story in the middle. They forget the fact that it's government intervention in healthcare that's causing healthcare to be so expensive. Why is no one complaining about anything else other than healthcare pricing and college education, the cost of higher education? Why isn't there a mass movement for the price of tomatoes to lower the cost of tomatoes? Because the government doesn't largely intervene in the tomato market. They intervene in the education market and they intervene in the healthcare market. And that's why it's really expensive. Has this escaped liberals? So again, he starts the story in the middle. He says, well, the prices are so high and that's why the government needed to get involved. The government needed to get involved because the government caused the high prices. These people never get it. They never learn. You know, I wish we could talk some sense into these silly liberals, but it's just they're losing their minds. The meltdown today, by the way, so much winning today. Missouri goes right to work, big time winning, right to work state, the 28th. Jeff Sessions is the AG, big time winning. And finally, this is great. Elizabeth Warren and Al Franken are the new faces of the Democratic Party. Pocahontas and Stuart Smalley. This is great. Today was full of winning, left and right. Keep it up. Put Warren on your presidential ticket in 2020. Can't wait. All right, folks. By the way, if you haven't signed up for CRTV yet, I'd really appreciate it if you give us a look. We at Conservative View put together a commercial-free network full of unbelievable content. It costs you about $8 a month. That's it. You get Mark Levin Show, Mark Stein Show, Michelle Malkin Show, Steven Crowder Show. No commercials. Watch it on your computer, your tablet. I'd really appreciate it if you give it a look. We're producing some really high-quality conservative content over there. You're not going to get anywhere else. Thanks for tuning in. See you all tomorrow.